lock in. Let me see what we got here. All right, folks, big day on the street. We got, which means that it's time to, how do we do that? Here we go. Yo, what's going on? Nobody's online. All right, listen, I'm making a new video. This one is specifically dealing with everybody that tells me deport. I just want to tell you, I understand. I'm also a fan of the deport, but it doesn't solve every single problem in Canada. In fact, I wouldn't go as far as to say it makes things worse. Who do you want to deport? Like, which country do you want to just get rid of? Because if you deport people, there needs to be a cause, right? You can't just say, I don't like you because you got one of these weird hats on. That's a big problem in our community. People with weird hats. How do you get money on this thing? What do I gotta top fan it up? I'm trying to be like the Maple Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes. Maybe if I just say the words Nick Fuentes, he'll appear like Boogeyman. Boogie Nights. Oh. Sorry about the last clip, guys. The last video, super clippy. I got this thing on Temu and it was like 40 bucks and I'm like, oh, it's a great deal. Well, I'm paying for it. I'm gonna get chopped up, not slopped up. Folks, listen. Ultimately, Canada is a beautiful country, the Great White North. But the Great White North, folks, the people that built this country were not Jeets. They were not Pajits. They were not Baji. YouTube does this weird thing where it like throttles 12 people to me at any other time because I have no idea what purpose that serves. But if you're seeing this and you're thinking, oh, he's not talking about anything, yeah, I did not invite you to this, okay? You can leave, actually. I think you should leave. Oh, goddamn. How's everybody's stock portfolio doing? Mine dropped 10 points today. It's fine, I don't care. It's fine. Everything's fine. Ultimately, like, that's the story of Canada, right? Like, oh, it's fine. It's okay, bud. It's okay. We'll be fine. How do I monetize this? Okay, monetization on, save that, analytics there. Didn't get any views, details, boom. Can we do A/B testing on this? Still processing. Probably does not help the fact that I'm live streaming at the same time that that's processing, but it is what it is. Ooh, apparently the Department of Fisheries and Oceans will be absorbed into the Natural Resources Canada tomorrow. I'm not sure what that means. I have a feeling that has to do with the privatization of our water sources, but listen, Nestle has had Canadian water sources for the better part of my life. I'm not going to say that nothing bad has come of it, but in terms of privatizing the rest of the lakes and rivers across Ontario, I don't see how we could get much worse than selling it off to Nestle. I guess doomsday scenario is that you're going to start selling it off to like data centers and Nvidia in an effort to attract competition. I don't think that's worse than Nestle owning your shit. Like data centers are this weird concept to me. Oh, nobody's on here. Give me a script for the Canada budget. Okay, folks, we're doing a live reaction to the Canadian budget. Okay, it's not great. But folks, listen, here's the reality. You look at the Canadian budget and it's pretty much looking like your ex spending your money. You know when you gave her your card to buy one thing, next thing you know, you look at your balance, you're like $17,000. You stupid bitch. I love you. Okay, so this is what this year's federal budget feels like. It's a mix of good intentions, bad math, and whatever's left after Ottawa pays the rent on its own mistakes. A $60 billion deficit is it's insane. That's I remember thinking Bill Gates was the richest man alive because he had $1 billion. $1 billion fucking doesn't even buy you a salad nowadays. This year, Ottawa's spending $535 billion, which, if you're keeping track, is about $13,000 per Canadian. The feds are bringing $495 billion into revenue, which is great, but we're still short $40 billion. That's what politicians call fiscal responsibility. Most of that cash, which means about 68 cents of every dollar, goes straight into program expenses, which is a bureaucratic code for vibes and vibe-related expenditures. But listen, here is who's really getting the bag from the Canadian budget. Because we are talking about the Canadian federal budget that was announced today. I wish I had those gloves. Anyway, who's getting the money? Good question. Health transfers. That's 56 billion, which is up 9%. Sounds nice until you remember that half of it is spent trying to keep the provincial systems from flatlining. There's different levels of government within Canada and different responsibilities for each level, but ultimately the federal government is trying to step up and babysit as much as it can. Elderly benefits. $88 billion is coming from the federal government to go into the elderly's pocket. Solid move, because boomers vote, and I'm a millennial, I barely vote. Zoomers, I don't even think they know how to spell the word vote. Smart move. Give the money to the grandpas. Less smart is the Indigenous services, which is $27 billion going to the Indigenous services because 1,000 years ago, this country took the land from the savages because they had guns, germs, and steel, and now we gotta make up for that forever. But listen, $27 billion, either a moral step forward or a guilt tax, depending on your cynicism levels. I'm more in the guilt tax level. It is what it is. Next line item, we got defense at $34 billion. $34 billion for defense. We live beside America. What are you doing? But yeah, okay, let's get some F-35s and subs. Speaking of subs, sub to my channel. And then in terms of debt interest, which is great, we're just spending money to spend money, $53 billion. So if you're keeping track, we're spending more on debt interest than we are on defense and Indigenous services combined, but less than we are for the elderly, which is great. But the debt interest is literally the price of vibes hanging around for too long. Now, Ottawa thinks that they're promising a fair economy for every generation. I call bullshit because it mostly means that you're giving Gen Z just enough housing slogans to last until 2030. There's no new money for renters. Green tech, AI oversight. Pretty much you're giving a toddler a fucking taser to stop crime. These budget changes are not going to do anything for the average Canadian. This budget is a huge fucking L for anybody with money in the market. Look at your stock portfolio right now if you have one. Shopify is down 10%, I think, over the course of today. And Shopify is a fucking e-commerce platform. It shouldn't have anything to do with the Canadian economy. Add a Q&A sticker. Sorry. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Yeah, whatever. I'm not doing no stickers. Sorry, guys. Anyway. They're promising a fair economy for every generation, which means giving Gen Z enough housing slogans, blah, blah, blah. I already read that part. Okay, here's how they get the money. Personal income tax accounts for 51% of total revenue for the government. That means that they're accounting for you to bankroll their bad ideas to the tune of half of the money that they're going into this with. Corporate tax is only going to make up 17 because, those corporations, they work hard. They got to save their money. It's idiots like me and you that got to pay for half of it. Break. Got 2 of these left, by the way. Sponsored by Creepy Espresso 1983. GST and excise will make up about 11%, which basically means we pay the bills while corporations split the check and sneak out early. God damn. They're writing on ChatGPT. Wonderful. Canada's debt is north of $1.3 trillion. But don't worry, they'll project it'll shrink as a percentage of GDP. Which is like me saying I'm getting richer because my overdraft limit went up. That's pretty clever. But listen, at this point, the Canadian budget is not about balancing numbers. It's about balancing optics, okay? We're pretending to be generous while we're still renting out our own future. The real problem is not that Canada is broke. Is that we're budgeting for a country that does not exist anymore, okay? I'm not anti-tax. I'm just not native. And I wish that I could claim existential dread as a negative on my taxes, but I can't. But that's the 2025 budget in a nutshell. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, go fuck yourself. How do I get out of this? It's upside down. There it is.